Hey guys, thanks for joining me for A Course in Miracles Chapter 5 summary. Chapter 5 has 7 subsections. Some of the ones that interest me the most were number 4, Teaching and Healing, and the Ego's Use of Guilt. As we'll learn later in this chapter, or later in the summary, that guilt is a root cause of a lot of issues. So here we go into Chapter 5. Here's the one paragraph summary. Chapter 5 focuses on healing as a result of choosing the Holy Spirit over the ego. It explains that true healing is of the mind and comes through recognizing our shared wholeness with all beings. Jesus emphasizes his role as a guide and elder brother, not as someone above us, but as someone walking with us. Healing happens when we accept the atonement and extend love, recognizing that what is real in us can never be harmed or divided. So this was a really big chapter for me in my healing journey. As I mentioned, I was diagnosed with ulcerative colitis, a stomach issue that conventional medicine tells you is genetic, and there's no real cause or there's no real cure or root cause. Sorry, and that puts you in a challenging mindset when it comes to healing. And so this chapter was really encouraging to me. And of course, I was looking for a material that was about healing. And of course, this is suggesting that all healing starts in the mind. And when you're sick, that's really hard to understand and even come to terms with, because it's hard to wrap your mind around the fact that you are responsible for your sickness. But it's hard to believe that, because why would you want to make yourself sick? And why would you do that? And as we'll find out in this chapter, it's obviously not a conscious choice you're making. It's just a result of the decisions you've been exhibiting through your life. So let's get into the 5 key takeaways. And key takeaway number 1 is sickness is a defense against the truth. Sickness arises from the ego's desire to prove that the body is real and vulnerable. It is a misuse of the mind and can be healed through correct perception. So it's interesting, when I was sick, and when you're in sickness, when your body is hurting or you have pain, of course the pain, the feeling makes the body feel more real, which makes the idea of separation more real, or that meaning that the thought that we're just this body and nothing more, it almost makes it more real because of all the feelings we're feeling, all the pain we're feeling. It must be real, right? But this can be corrected through perception. Okay, only the mind, number 2, only the mind can be sick or healed. The body merely reflects the state of mind. All healing then comes from correcting the thought system that caused the illusion of illness. So again, this is pointing to the fact that our sickness starts from the mind, and the body is just a reflection of our state of mind or state of being. So if our body is out of alignment, that must mean that our mind is out of alignment. The mind is the origin, then the body reflects that of the mind. So if you want to get to the root cause, in a lot of instances, you can't just focus on the body. You have to go to the mind and see what's going on. And the body is just a feedback tool, reflection. Key takeaway number 3, to heal is to unite. Healing occurs when we recognize our oneness with another. Separation is the problem. Unity is the cure. So this can be a little confusing in terms of how is unity healing? I get how unity and being together would be, nice and a great idea, and it sounds wonderful, but how does that heal in practicality? Well, the suggestion here is that our mind, the way we think, our state of mind, is causing our sickness. And the perception correction there is, that must mean that we're thinking of others in a negative way, or ourselves in a negative way. And when we can recognize that the people around us that may be, causing us pain in our perception, really they're one with us, and if we unite with them and are able to love them, then we can heal ourselves. And we'll learn about that a little later on in this summary. Key takeaway number 4, you are your brother's keeper. This means we are all responsible for each other's healing. Because we are not separate, to see wholeness in another is to affirm it in yourself. And we're going to learn this later, or I'm going to have a few points in my favorite key points for the chapter, favorite points of the chapter. But what this is saying is we're responsible, and we can provide healing for each other based on our perception of each other, because how we think of others is how we think of ourselves. How we judge others is how we judge ourselves. And if we're going to judge another, you know, the popular statement is the lightning bolt of judgment has to pass through you first. So then you're getting that negativity as well as sending it to another person. So in a way, we are responsible for others' healing and our own by the way we're thinking about each other. We can help each other in that regard. Key takeaway number 5. The Holy Spirit is the spirit of wholeness. This is the most important point. The Holy Spirit heals by reminding us of our inherent unity and innocence. By choosing his vision instead of the ego's, we restore the awareness of perfect wholeness, which is the essence of healing. So a lot of this chapter, there's a lot of emphasis on the fact that you can choose to believe in alignment with your ego, or you can choose to believe in alignment with the Holy Spirit. Really, you can only do one or the other, and one brings illness and one brings healing. And obviously this book is suggesting that alignment with the Holy Spirit is healing. And when they say alignment with the Holy Spirit, it can be a little confusing, but the way I think of it is alignment with the eternal truth of love, and understanding that we are more than just this body, that there's something else above that's we're capable of connecting to and living up to. Okay, so those are the 5 key takeaways for chapter 5, and I'm going to go into my favorite quotes. There's a lot of great ones in here, and I say that every time, but this one was really hard to pare down. I had to really reduce the quotes. But if you're on a healing journey, this is a great chapter to read. It might help you get excited about some practical things you can do. And I'll try to explain how they're practical, how they bring healing, because sometimes it's a little confusing. But Jesus's teachings are always to the point. They usually make you take a little responsibility, which is good, because then you have the power to change it. And they're timeless. So here we go. To heal is to make happy. So that's the first sentence in this chapter, and I just thought that's beautiful. To heal is to make happy. It's very simple, self-explanatory. The next one is, what you acknowledge in your brother, you are acknowledging in yourself, and what you share, you strengthen. So what you acknowledge in your brother, so what you see in your brother or see in other people is what you see in yourself. And so it's really important to always hold positivity in others, because then you'll hold it in yourselves. If you start judging others, you're judging yourself. And what you share, you strengthen. What you offered the other person is strengthened in your reality. So if you want to offer negativity, it's going to strengthen negativity in your reality. If you want to offer positivity, a positive reflection, that will strengthen your reality into a more positive timeline, I guess. Okay, the next quote here is, what you perceive in others, you strengthen in yourself. So it's the same idea as the quote above. I'll leave that. Jesus speaks to something called the healer's prayer, and it's very simple, and I thought it was neat, and it relates to the previous 2 comments. Let me know this brother as I know myself. And so it's really saying to the point that we're all equal, we're all the same, and my brother's no different than I. If I can love them, I can love myself, and vice versa. And we all share different perspectives on life, the way we go through it, but we all come from the same place. If you share a physical possession, you divide its ownership. If you share an idea, however, you do not lessen it. All of it is still yours, although all of it has been given away. That's so beautiful. Giving away ideas, giving away positivity, it just strengthens it and duplicates it, and you still have just as much as you had before, didn't you? So what a beautiful quote. Next one here. Remember that yoke means joined together and burden means message. So let us restate. My yoke is easy and my burden is light. Is really, let us join together, for my message is light. God is not the author of fear, you are. Okay, I think that was from the previous chapter there, chapter 4, that last little section. But I just thought it was interesting because I'm not an expert in the Bible, but I do remember a passage similar to, yeah, my yoke is easy, my burden is light. And so Jesus is just restating it into easier terms to understand. Is let's just join together, for my message is light. And light, many hands make light work, right? Lots of meanings in there. Okay, the next one. Peace is the ego's greatest enemy because according to its interpretation of reality, war is the guarantee of its survival. So if ego is the self-identification or ensuring that the self, the survival of the self, if there's a war, then it magnifies your need of survival, and then it starts to magnify those types of thoughts that require or that are aimed for survival but may not be loving and in alignment with the Holy Spirit. Next quote. Peace is stronger than war because it heals. War is division, not increase. No one gains from strife. What profiteth a man if he gain the whole world and lose his own soul? So this is suggesting, and I think it's pretty obvious, that no one gains in war. Everyone loses. Especially, what would it matter even if you gained possessions if you lost your way and lost your connection to reality and source and the truth? Next quote here. The ego made the world as it perceives it, but the Holy Spirit, the interpreter of what the ego made, sees the world as a teaching device for bringing you home. So the ego is kind of pointing to the fact that the ego thinks this world is all there is. This is the best it gets. This is, you just play within these boundaries and survive and do your best. But if you align your thinking with the Holy Spirit, is suggesting that this world is a teaching device for us so that we can learn our lessons, so we can join others in where we're really meant to be, which is in heaven, in my opinion. Okay, the last few quotes here. The Holy Spirit will help you reinterpret everything you perceive as fearful and teach you that only what is loving is true. So the way I like to think about this is, if you're having a difficult time in your life and you're not sure what the correct answer is or which way to think or how to move forward, if you let's say borrow the perspective of the Holy Spirit or align yourself with the perspective of the Holy Spirit, it will show you a perspective that is not coming from fear, and it can give you another option that you may not have thought of or that was available to you before. Whenever you respond to your ego, you will experience guilt and you will fear punishment. So that's just interesting. So the more we respond to the ego, the more we experience guilt and fear. And so it's just a never-ending cycle we have to get out of. The guiltless mind cannot suffer. Being sane, the mind heals the body because it has been healed. So this is really suggesting, in my opinion, that removing guilt from your mind is a huge piece for healing. It causes us to hurt ourselves and put chains on ourselves, and no one's doing it to you but you. And it's really does not put the mind at peace, and leads to unwellness of the mind and the body. So one of the main keys to healing that I've learned, and that Jesus is expressing in this chapter, is to reduce your guilt, get rid of your guilt completely. It's not necessary, and you're causing yourself suffering and pain. Okay, another quote here from Jesus. As ye sow, so shall ye reap. He interprets to mean what you consider worth cultivating, you will cultivate in yourself. Your judgment of what is worthy makes it worthy for you. So it's really interesting. What you're putting value on, what you judge as valuable is what is worthy for yourself. And everyone has their own judgment, but that shows you that those judgments is variable. What is really true? What is really truly valuable and that everyone can agree on? It's not just specific to one person or based on your perspective. And so you have to be careful what you judge as valuable. What are you focusing on? Right? And the last quote here. There can be no case against a child of God, and every witness to guilt in God's creation is bearing false witness to God himself. So I like to think of this as easier in my mind. If you look at the world, we're all just, children have grown up. And at some point we were all, let's say, 1 or 2 years old and, innocent children just stumbling around, laughing, giggling, crying, doing, reacting to the world in a very innocent way. And we also we're so innocent, we had no restrictions on what we thought was possible or any outcomes, what would happen. We were just, living life. And would you ever judge or make that child feel guilty in any regard? Would you ever think of that child as guilty or judge that child in any regard for any mistake or anything they've done? And so obviously if you've done so, you may have made an error. And so what would be the difference of judging somebody when they're 2 versus when they're 32 or 62? The mistakes may be more magnified and more not seem as innocent, but it's essentially the same thing. Anyways, guys, thanks so much for joining me for chapter 5. If you can take the time to make a comment here or send me a question, I'd love to answer. And I hope this chapter brings you lots of love and healing in your journey. And wish you all the best. Take care.